Hello, how you guys doing today? Hopefully having a good day. You're welcome in. I'm gonna give it a few seconds for people to jump on the live. While if you do, and while you're coming in, drop where you're watching from in the comments. And are you having a good day? Are you having a good week? How's the weather where you are? While you wait, I'm gonna talk about something real quick. A lot of people are using AI wrong. They're typing basic prompts and getting basic answers, and then saying AI doesn't work for them. It's like buying a gym membership and only using the parking lot. Um, So what I do and what I teach at Promptify is prompt engineering. That can sound complicated, but it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI so it gives you something you can actually use. Today, I'm going to show you in a topic, and by the end of this, you'll be able to do this yourself in about 5 minutes, and everything I show you is inside Promptify, and it's also free to start. And the link is in my bio. Um, so for today, the sentence to kind of summarize what we're going to talk about for today is um, the one idea the one idea creator workflow. So, or a voice note to a week of content, or turning a voice note into a week of content, right? um Very relevant to what I spoke on in the short forms today. So what happens is, uh so here's the thing, right? um there's a voice note, and by the end it becomes five angles or five different pieces of content, a stronger first line, a comment led video, aka something I spoke on the short forms. You could literally ask people to suggest videos, um, or topics, and maybe make a tally of which one's got the most, and maybe do those first. um, or people will just come and ask you to talk about it if they see that you know what you're talking about, or they see that you're helpful, and or you're just a voice in the niche who's speaking on it. Maybe they'll ask you to just, if you know about something, and that to talk about it, right? Um, then there's a carousel plan that can come from all this, and then um, a calendar. So here's the thing, right? A calendar, aka like you setting aside time to do all this. Um, so what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna I'm gonna go and put on the screen. I'm gonna put the prompt on the screen showcasing all this, but as I usually do, I'm gonna actually narrate this how this entire process would look first. So real quick, I'm just gonna narrate it. Um, then I'll put it on the screen. So show the finish weekly board. The constraint is simple. And when I say show the finished weekly board, it's just you showcasing um, the information that you have for your post, or that's going to be put into the post. Um, the constraint, aka the it's like a limiter that, like, when you put in a prompt, let's say you want specific information, you would give specific details about what you want to be worded, or given an answer specifically. So that's a constraint. So the constraint is simple: no invented expertise, no pressure to post, um, and no pressure to post 7 times. So no invented expertise is like, you're only out of this information. It's only going to showcase what you actually know for a fact. It's not going to misword anything or take anything out of context to where a person could assume you know more than you've actually told AI that you know. Um, so that, there's not like people now. Let's say you have an offer and they're not going to come ask for something that you don't have, which could then lead to disappointment, and then losing a potential customer that you could have maybe helped in another way. Like, no, like, be exact. Um, and no pressure to post 7 times. So, um, you play the 20-second voice note. Your source is the work you already think, say, or teach. Um, So maybe this voice note is organized or not, but it's obvious. Like I said, it's what you already think, what you already say, what you already teach, what you already know. So same as last video, I'm gonna all the shorts kind of made up. What I'm doing is I'm explaining the steps for each of the videos I did today. And so I'm going to do that again, and then I'm going to show all the videos from the short forms, I should say. And it makes up what the topic in this long form video. But I'm showing it in sequence and showing how all the short forms I did was actually a system to help you make content out of voice notes, right? That's what I'm kind of like doing this week. I did that in the last video. So here's the thing. So the first one is discussing five angles are not five claims. They are five ways into the same point, right? The second one, excuse me, I'm gonna re-show the prompt for that, and then I'm gonna basically show what I just explained for that, right? The second one is so I select the hook that the body can defend. Then I rewrite it in my own voice. So the hook, aka the thing that pulls people in when you say it, when you're making content, whether it's intriguing or not, whether it's controversial or not, and then the hook has to support like the actual after you say that hook or that title or whatever you say after that, that now the value that you're bringing in the video, where maybe you discuss an answer or you give a solution or you discuss a topic and bring awareness, that would support the hook, obviously. And then what happens is you would have that rewritten in your own voice, like the way you would word it, unless you want to just take what it gives you, right? For the third short form video, or aka the third prompt, the comments can indicate questions. They do not prove a market. They are still the best place to clarify the next explanation. So yeah, like literally answering, you could just answer in the comments, but who knows if there could be multiple people asking that question. Make a video about it and get a bunch of comments saying thank you, and you brought value to something that was commonly being asked, and that's just very helpful for you when it comes to marketing and growing in your niche, right? Because you're helping them with exactly what they're asking for. For the fourth short form video, or aka the fourth prompt that I'm gonna do, and re-show. So show the 6-slide plan beside the source outline. If a slide needs a fact I did not provide, it stays blank. AKA you're not overreaching. You're only providing exactly what you know. Kind of like with the wording I put before, you're not, there's no like false expertise. And then for the fifth one, it's going to be the plan includes a revision and rest day. So consistency is a capacity problem before it's a motivation problem. So yeah, like, and it depends on how your schedule is and how much time you have for stuff. But yeah, like literally, pace yourself. I guess that's the wording I want to use for that. Don't ever rely on motivation. Rely on like a stable system that will allow you to continuously bring output in some sort of capacity. Maybe you group more into fewer days, but all those groups would turn into daily content posts. But you do it a few times a week, or maybe you do a little bit each day. However you do it, right? So what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna flip to the screen and show you the prompt that I put in for this. Excuse me. Before I say that, so we're gonna check every claim, remove copied comment names, and select only the assets that you can make. So it's just like a final review. So what I'm going to do, so like I said, I'm going to flip to the screen. I'm going to put in the prompt right now. Excuse me, I didn't mean to just say that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the screen and show you the prompts that I've already put in. And then narrate. I'm going to read all, like I did last time, I'm going to read all of them off. And then it's going to basically follow the narration that I just did in order. So obviously the main topic is about using voice notes to make content. So here at the top, excuse me, it says this is the first prompt. Turn this creator voice note transcript into five distinct short form content angles. Preserve the core point. Label each angle mistake, how to, story, checklist, or audience question. Do not add claims or examples not in the transcript. And here's the thing. So the transcript says, I stop planning every post separately. I start with one client question, answer it clearly, and then make a short video, carousel, and email from the same answer. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And but it's so like I explained. So here it puts the mistake, it puts the how to, it puts the story, and it has a checklist, and it's coming from the transcript. So for example, it says the mistake was I stopped planning every post separately. That's a mistake that we talked about that we're going to address right here. I'm bringing the cursor to where it says mistake, and then first line, that's a mistake. The how to is start with one client question, answer it clearly, then turn that same answer into a short video, carousel, or email. That's literally the second sentence in this transcript. Oops. And then the story is how I changed the way I create content. I stopped planning every post separately and started building multiple pieces from one client question. Literally says here I started with one client question. Oops. And then here's a checklist. So checklist is pick one client question, answer it clearly, make a short video, make a carousel, and make an email. Okay. So, and then there's an audience question at the end, which is, what if you stop planning every post separately? Could one clear answer to a client question become your short form? Your short video, carousel, and email. All right. So that's okay. So that's something you'd ask after, right? So here's the thing. So the next prompt. Oops. Let me scroll down. So the next prompt says, nope, I'm zoomed in enough. Write 5 opening lines for this post. Each line must be supported by the post body. Use plain language. Avoid hype, guarantees. Avoid hype, avoid guarantees, or you need to avoid hype, avoid guarantees, or avoid you need to, or avoid saying that. So keep each under 12 words. And then what happens is the information is already filled in because I already taught the ChatGPT, but it says post the body, and then you'd paste your existing post here. So here's the thing, right? 5 opening lines for this post. One would be, I stopped planning every post separately. This is within the answer. 2 is, one client question can become several pieces of content. 3 is, I start with the question, not the format. 4 is, one client answer can shape a video, carousel, and email. And 5 is, I use one client question to create multiple posts. These are all under 12 words. and they're supported by the post body. So I don't have the example here, but based on the information we have, these all support the post body. So like these opening lines are completely congruent with the post body, or they support it, and they use plain language. They avoid hype. They avoid guarantees, and they avoid the "you need tos" type of phrases. Right. I'm gonna move to the next one. So number 3 is, or the third prompt is, so group these audience comments by the question they are asking. Show the repeated question, comment count, and the exact comments in each group. Do not infer demographic information on or demand. So the comments, you'd paste 12 comments, right? Didn't put that here, but like I said, I already taught the ChatGPT before this, so it has the information. So, So I thought I'd put that in, but I hadn't. So what happens is it basically explained what it would do, but so for the other ones I had put in, well, not really so far, because the example was kind of built into not this one, the one prior, the answer was built in. Well, for example, the information you need to use was built in. The transcript was already there. For this one, I didn't do that. So I should have actually checked that before I made that short form video. So this is actually incorrect because it doesn't have the filled in information that I would have put. So that's my fault on that. I could probably, let me just read this real quick, and I could maybe just redo this right now. I'd have to put my phone down and type it out. But so basically it says group these audience comments by the question they're asking. Show repeated question, comment count, and the exact comments in each group. Do not infer demographic information or demand, and paste 12 comments. So it says please paste 6 to 12 comments, and I'll group them by repeated question with repeated question, comment count, and exact comments. So what I'm going to do real quick, just get out the way now. I'm gonna flip the screen back to my face. I'm gonna re-put in this prompt and make sure it has the information. I need to just use a code word to have it bring back up the information I taught it about, so I can just do this properly. Then I'm gonna read that prompt. Then I'll continue the video. So, ready? Okay. So, one sec. So here we go. Give me a moment. So I've put in this prompt again. Let me just reread it again so we're all on track. And then I'm going to read the result that I gave. I gave it example comments to use. So group, this is the third one again, right? But now with the correct prompt and answer. Group these audience comments by the question they're asking. Show the repeated question, comment count, and the exact comments in each group. Do not infer demographic information or demand comments, and then it pastes 12 comments. So here we go. The comments still shown. The comments still show the placeholder rather than the fictional comments. Here's the grouping from the sample comments I provided. So this is what I told it to provide. I use, as you hear me say in the videos, I use the term placeholder when I discuss information. I'd say placeholder for it to bring up that information and then apply it to like a prompt where I need to make up some information, right? So the comments still show the placeholder rather than the fictional comments. I already said that. So comment 1 is, how do you decide which client question to start with? there was like and for example, there was 2 comments that did that. So it said, how do you decide which client question to start with? How do you decide which client is the same thing, right? So do you create a video carousel and an email all at once? The question was, do you create the video carousel and email all at once? 3 was, can you show what your repurposing process looks like? Same thing for the actual thing that they asked. What 4 is, what do you do if you have several good client questions? And 5 was, how long does it usually take you to turn one question into multiple pieces? So let's just make it up. Obviously, let's say that these questions were the ones that came in, and it grouped them and basically just gave, like, out of 12 comments, like it grouped them by the questions that they're asking and how many times were repeated, right? That's really all you need to do. So 1 second, I'm just going to scroll back up. We're going to go to number 4. Let me just make sure I'm in the right place. So here we go. Is that, and okay. So right here, all right, so I messed up on this one as well because it didn't take it. So what happens is you have to remind ChatGPT. So I'm just saying this as a thing, something to keep in mind. It did the same thing with this. So what I'm gonna do. It didn't give the exact answer. It said, please paste the approved outline and I'll turn it into a 6-slide carousel plan. It was supposed to have the outline. So let me just redo this prompt as well. I'm gonna put it back in and have it fill in the information. Instead of reading the incorrect one, let me just do it correct from the start. All right. So here we go. Ready? Oh. So I don't know if okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Almost there. All right, good. To remind it twice. I had it clarify. Oh. It just, okay. Just give me 1 moment. All right, ready? All right, so here we go. Perfect. So let me just read the prompt. I forget if I just read. I don't think I did. I'm going to reread the prompt and then I'm going to zoom out and show you the answer. So turn this approved outline into a 6-slide Instagram carousel plan. For each slide, write a short headline and 1 supporting line. Include 1 slide for a specific proof example from the outline and 1 simple call to action. Do not add facts, and the outline is you to paste your approved points. Now I filled that in already, so I'm all set with that. So slide 1, start with 1 client question instead of creating each piece from scratch. Choose a question a client has already asked you. Create 1 clear answer before choosing content formats. For example, turn the same answer into a short video, carousel, and email. Slide 5 is the answers says the same. Excuse me. Let me just reread this real quick. Sorry about that. So slide 1 is stop planning every post separately. Start with 1 client question. Instead of creating each piece from scratch. Slide 2 is start with 1 question. Choose a question a client has already asked you. Slide 3 is answer it clearly. Create 1 answer before choosing the content formats. Slide 4 is one answer, three formats. For example, turn the same answer into a short video, carousel, and email. Slide 5 is reuse the same core idea. The answer stays the same while the format changes. And slide 6 is try it with one question. Pick one client question and turn that answer into multiple formats. So what this did obviously is it turned an approved outline into 6-slide Instagram carousel plan. Just rereading the prompt again is explaining how this answer addressed it. For each slide, write a short headline. So everything had the short headline in the bold. Or not. All right. Yeah, so that wasn't the bold. And then include one slide for a specific proof example from the outline and one simple CTA. So what happens is slide from the specific proof, include one. So this is just that wasn't added in here, but that what happens is you'd fill in that, but you have that information yourself, obviously, right? But based on the data you give it, it's giving you the stuff to work with, but you would fill in the specific proof, and then the example from your outline, and then the CTA is your own CTA. Like, do you have a link in your bio and blah blah blah, right? But this is based on your approved points. So, all right, so that's number 4. But like I said, I have to give it information to make up or give an example. But you would have this stuff based on your examples. You would have the what I should say is the CTA and the example from the outline and the slide for a specific proof. Like you would have the proof showcasing what it is you're talking about. So real quick, I'm gonna scroll back up. All right, just give me a moment. So we're going to number 5. All right, so group these audience questions. But okay, I already did that. All right, so for number 5, I think this one was done correctly. It's good. So create a realistic 5-day content plan from these constraints. Use only the listed assets. Show estimated creation blocks. Show estimated creation blocks, not guarantees. Keep one day open for revision or rest. And the goal is explain my repurposing workflow. The assets is one voice note, one client question, and 3 screenshots. These assets are literally the proof. And then the time is 90 minutes total per week, aka how much time you have to do this, right? In literally a week. So day 1, I'm just reading the answer. So day 1, the focus is turn the voice note into the core explanation of your repurposing workflow. The assets used would be the voice note, and the estimated creation block would be 20 minutes. Day 2, you'd build the client question into the starting point for the workflow. The assets used is a client question, and the estimated creation block would be 15 minutes. Day 3, the screenshot. Use screenshot 1 to show part of the workflow. Then screenshot 2 to show another step. So it would be screenshots 1 and 2 would be the assets that you're using for this, and then it'll take about 20 minutes, right? These are just all estimates when we're talking about the time frames or whatever. Day 4 is revision or rest. Leave this day open. You don't do anything, or you can read over stuff and make sure it's okay. Revision usually means maybe checking to see if everything's okay and if you need to fix anything. So maybe you're planning a little bit, right? Or maybe you go and fix some stuff. It's up to you. So, and then day 5 is use screenshot 3 to complete the workflow, then assemble the week's pieces into a clear explanation. So screenshot 3 plus existing pieces is the assets that you're going to use to actually do this, or aka you're going to use to complete the workflow, then assemble the week's pieces into a clear explanation. And that'll take like 35 minutes, right? The time estimates is whatever. Obviously, like you just set aside time to get this done each day that you're actually going to be doing it. And the total estimated time obviously is quote unquote 90 minutes, and telling you what you're going to do literally each day, and what things you need to use to do it. And the sequence helps. The sequence keeps the voice note and client question as the core. Then uses 3 screenshots to show the workflow without requiring any additional assets. So basically, all right, let me just scroll back up to the prompt so I can just explain how it was probably very self-explanatory. This one already had the answer filled in, but what this is obviously it created a realistic 5-day content plan from these constraints. Maybe the time's not realistic, but you just set aside time to do it. If you're going to literally be doing this, a safe amount of time each day to do it, or the days you're scheduled to do it. Probably schedule more time in than you would need so that you can have more time to get it done. Obviously, if this is what you're serious about doing. This created a realistic 5-day content plan from these constraints. It used only the listed assets and showed estimated creation blocks, not guarantees, and it kept 1 day open for revision and rest. As you can see, all that was done. And the goal was to explain my repurposing workflow. The assets used was 1 voice note, 1 client question, and 3 screenshots. And the time, 90 minutes total, blah, blah, blah. So basically, like, as I said, all these prompts that I showed today in the short forms were used to create, that was all a system that now I'm explaining in the long form can all be used together to create content weekly. So in the past, I've talked about using AI to create content weekly, and I just showed you an entire system. So, basically, so if you're interested in Promptify, the link is in the bio, and you can start for free. If there was anything that I said today that was helpful, helpful in any way, shape, or form, that is amazing, and I hope you have a great day.